Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Richard Botha from Knowledge Electronic Media, and yes, we are electronic or digital marketing agency, but we're much more than that. We look at business optimization, and that's probably my role because I'm a business strategist and I really like it, and I really like helping people to be successful. But to understand, to be successful, there's a lot of thinking going into that. And that's where we get stuck into companies. To help them to think about that. Now, in a previous video, we spoke about the 4 skill sets that you need to be successful. And in future videos, we will really go really deep in that, because there's a lot to know. There's a lot to really understand. And it's a case of increasing your consciousness. Now, I know a lot of people, the moment you mention something like consciousness, they suddenly go, oh, you're all new age and happy clappies or Buddhist or whatever. No, it's nonsense. It's just actually using your higher faculties in your brain that's already in your skull that you were issued with at birth. It's not religious. It is not anything else than actually just using everything that you were given to ensure your success. So if you think about it, people talk about equality all the time. But here's a fact. We were all born equal, but equal in one thing. Equal with the ability to use your mind to make good or bad decisions. That's it. That's the equality. You don't have to be a super genius to have that quality. It's a basic thing, but you must understand where it goes to. I come back to my favorite quote of all time of George Bernard Shaw, who said that 2% of people think, 3% of people think they think, and the rest will rather die than think. And you see that every day. Once you take notice of that, you see that, guess what? That is consciousness. When you consciously start looking at the world around you and start to really understand what is happening around you and really start to think about all the impacts that is happening around you, that is consciousness. But when you start living in a conscious mind and you partake in a thing we call conscious leadership, your whole life changes. All the nonsense falls away and you can really start to concentrate on the things that really matter. The question is, do you know what really matters to you? Or are you just caught up in the flow of every day? So the question is, do you live your life by what is happening around you? What people say, oh, I live by the cards I've been dealt? Or do you live a life by design? Because that's the difference between success and failure, is having a plan for your life, and within your life is your business. Your business is not your life. And if your business is your life, you're doing something wrong, and then you need to call us as quickly as possible, because your business is there to support your life. So we keep on coming back to the same things, but it's a very important message to bring to you. Everything we talk about is in the public domain. Let me just put it into perspective. In 1886, there was a conference in Florence in Italy, and all the top academics of the world at that point, probably European based, attended this conference. The purpose of this conference was to determine if a top academic of the day could have a working knowledge of the 5 areas that dominated academics and therefore human life at that point. And the result of that, or the conclusion of the conference, was that yes, that was 1885 was the last moment in human history that a top academic could have a working knowledge of the 5 branches of humanity. From 1885, it took 25 years for the world's encoded knowledge to double. Now, encoded knowledge is things that's written in books at that point. Books, newspapers, those kind of things. The encoded knowledge of the world grew, and to give you an idea, in 1933, the final pharmacology exam for physicians at Harvard University consisted of one question, and the question was, discuss the 5 modern medicines. And then they proceeded to list the 5 modern medicines. And they were cocaine, heroin, penicillin, aspirin, and Panado. or paracetamol. Those were the top line medicines in 1933. In the 1980s, you could go to university, start studying a 4-year degree with handbooks that were 2 years old at the beginning, complete your 4-year degree, and still had enough competitive advantage in the market to bring knowledge to the market when you entered the workforce. In 2023, the world's encoded knowledge doubles every 11 minutes. So there's so much out there to be consumed that you don't have enough time in 10 lifetimes to consume it all. And therefore, you have to go to places where the knowledge has been distilled. And we say everything we use comes from the public domain. In other words, you can go on the internet, you can go into a bookstore, you can go into a library, and you find the books where these things are written. So it is not things that is hidden from the public and therefore protected by IP laws and things like that. So please understand that. We work according to knowledge that we have and we have gained over the years. And the one system that really works for us in life and in business is a 6-step process that we follow with companies or with relationships, because once you have a plan, you've got a runway that you can work with, it's very easy to follow that. Rumi, a 13th century Arabic poet, said that when you take the first step, the journey would reveal itself. So we always start with mastery, and that's from chaos to control. It is applicable to your life, it's applicable to your business, but let's talk in business terms for a moment. If you don't know what's going on in your business and you don't have a handle on your numbers, on your margins, on what's happening in your business, you don't have what we call a daily management report, you don't have a business. Because you can still fix today what went wrong yesterday. But in 30 days, you can't even remember the clothes you had on for an entire day 30 days ago. How less will you remember a 20-second conversation with somebody? Or something that you said must be done and didn't happen, and those kind of things. So it's important to manage your business on a daily basis. Those 5 steps, the linear things that we do on a daily basis. And you will remember, after your technical skill, management skills is very important. So on the mastery level, it is extremely important to work on your management skills and to develop that. Then secondly is to find your niche. Where are you working in the market? What are you concentrating on? And in previous videos, we spoke about that. And 99.9% of times when we speak to new businesses that become clients of ours, and we ask them, so who's going to buy your product? And they say, everybody. No, you must go and find out who wants to buy your product. You must design your ideal client, what they look like, what the age group is, what race they are, what income stream, all those, because once you've got a niche, you can then work on predictable cash flow. That's the key, because cash flow is king. Cash is king. If you don't have cash, you don't have a business. If you have millions outstanding in debtors, but you don't have cash in the bank to pay your creditors or your staff, you don't have a business. So cash flow is everything, and your niche market, your niche that you start to concentrate on, where you focus, will give you that. And the next level is leverage. You must systemize everything for efficiency. If you don't have a system in your business, we've been on this earth long enough to understand that everything works according to a system. In the 1950s and 60s, the American Air Force came up with a way to describe it. They call it integration definition, or IDEF for short. And industrial engineers love using that. It simply says that everything that you do can be described as a process. So imagine brushing your teeth. That's a process. First of all, there's an input. You want clean teeth, and you want a fresh breath, and you want to preserve the hygiene of your mouth and all those good things. So the input is that impulse that you want to do that. You know it's right to do it. So your first step is you need tools. So you need a toothbrush, you need toothpaste, and some water. Then what do? You take off the cap, you put some toothpaste on the toothbrush, put some water on it or not, start brushing your teeth, rinse your mouth, dry your mouth. Everything can be described as part of the process. Once you understand the process and you can describe the process, you can find where the problem is. and then fix the problem, that the process flows. So to systemize your business is extremely important. The next thing is team. I've got a saying in all my businesses that not everybody that start the journey with me will complete the journey with me. Because people come and go. People come into your life for a specific reason, for a specific season. And some people will use you as a stepping stone to move on in life. Some people will stay there until they've learned what they wanted and move on. Some people are always on the lookout for something better, and meaning something better, somebody that will pay them $100 more, and they will move for that. While people are in your team, they must be a highly functional part of that team and they must contribute. When their time has come to leave, then replace them as quickly as possible, hopefully with somebody that's better, more focused, bring more skills, whatever. But your team is everything. And you must structure your team for growth. If anybody in your team is a deterrent for growth, anybody in your team is a destructive personality, or they don't do what they're supposed to do, who's always the victim, get rid of them. Get rid of them as quickly as possible, because they're killing the spirit of the rest of the team and they're not contributing like they should. So that's important. The next thing is then synergy. Synergy is when your business starts to run like a well-oiled engine. This is the most dangerous time for any business, because a well-oiled engine brings complacency and arrogance. And when you hit that synergy level, you must at all times be very, very vigilant about not dropping the ball, not doing your mastery things, not doing your niche, not leveraging, not making sure that the team is there. Synergy is a very good time for the business financially, but for the mindset of management and owners and workers, it's an extremely dangerous time. And in psychology, it's called the abyss. If you are not very cognizant of that, the whole team will drop over the abyss and the business will fail, because that is when guys start to drop their handicap below 10 in golf. They too much time away from the office, from the business. At my local golf course, there's on the 18th tee, there's a little plaque that says, if your handicap's above 18, watch your golf. If your handicap's below 10, watch your business, because you're spending too much time away from your business. And then last one is where you really start to get to the freedom part, and that's results. And that's where you start to either multiply or grow by acquisition. This system was originally coined by an Australian gentleman that lives in Las Vegas now, Brad Sugars. He's written lots of books about it, and he's had massive success with this. Now, he coined this term, growing a financially viable enterprise that can work without you. We added, and can grow in your absence, because that is when you reach investor status. We will talk about Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad and the quadrant a bit in the next video. But that's when you hit investor status, and that's where you want to be, because then you've reached the place where you've got the income that you want. It's never passive. So don't let anybody tell you there's passive income. No income is generated with no energy. Energy flows. If there's no energy that flows, there's nothing that can return. But that's where you derive an income without you having to work for it every day. And this is the point where you get to do what you want, when you want, how often you want, with whom you want, where you want. That's freedom. And the one important number that I want to close this one is your financial independent number. And we'll spend a whole video on that. See you in the next one.